Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toku Portal podcast for Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. My name is Bashi V, and joining me today is.
Right. If my webcam looks weird to you, it's because I reversed the image so that when I look at Vashi, I'm actually looking over at Vashi on the image.
God, if only it worked on my screen that way.
Did you try reversing the image?
I don't know how to reverse the image.
Alright, well, I'm not going to teach you right now. And when I'm looking over here, I'm basically looking at my copy of the episode that I'm playing in silent mode. So, Zenkaiger, episode 4. Uh, this week's episode is the one where we get the fifth team member, Blue, Zenkai Vroom. Uh,
And what a start that is.
so, Vroom's whole gimmick is his insatiable curiosity about how the world works. Uh, so we find out later that even though he was lower class, his desire for knowledge drove his passion, which is why he joined Toji Tendo, and even though he only was accepted as a janitor.
Because it gave him the access to learn new things.
Right, just being part of the organization, like you overhear some stuff, you learn some new information.
And boy, did he overhear a lot.
And this explains why he's always so outspoken whenever he overheard that stuff. Like, wait, what did you say about Kikaitopia? Like, hey, shut up, janitor. So his curiosity about why the world's trapped in the gears are being freed, he goes to Iji Rude, the general in charge of the monsters, to ask him like, "Hey, what's going on with this? Why are they being freed? Did Bakawas change his plans?" And Iji Rude goes, "Wait, they're doing what now?"
How many people have you told?
I came to you first. Like, okay, good. You're the only one I have to silence then.
Uh,
Covering up his mistakes. I think I know how this general is going to die.
oh yeah, I'm like like going through like past Sentais and stuff. Like for me, this would have led to like if this we had the same setup for like um situations we hate like Juocher. Like well we kind of did for Juocher, but like this would make sense for the general, the mate and bad killing one of the general. Like this is like the perfect setup for it of wait, you hid what from me?
Like, sorry, your plan was doing what now? You were you were sending the gears out, knowing that every time we lost one, that world was being freed.
Like it's perfectly set up for that.
The I
If
could
to the point where I will be a little disappointed if it doesn't play out that way.
I don't think they're gonna tease that for the whole series. I'm expecting that to be like the mid-season thing, and then we'll get the
Yeah.
new general introduced for the second half.
Yeah, the way that usually plays out. Either that or it'll wrap up around what would be like episode 15, so like the normal standard introduction for 6. Normal standard, not the new one where they show up episode 6.
Of course, then comes the question of like, how do the villains justify continuing to use the gears, knowing the risk they entail? And that's probably when they'll start to like be serious about it. And what's up?
I have a solution for that.
Go on.
And it is very much something that they could do in the show where like after they get rid of, you know, um Jirude, uh, um Bawakawas or whatever the hell his name is, basically goes, eh, once we fix the machine, we can go capture them all again.
Probably.
Like, it's very much the write off answer and very much something the show, I feel the show would do, but it would come across as okay. Like, it won't feel like a cop out. because why should the enemies be smarter than our heroes? So let's face it, our heroes are kind of dumb.
Okay. So the monster of the week is a boxing monster. Now we had a mushroom monster and we had an ice themed monster. So it's like, okay, an entire mushroom world, an entire like frozen planet. Those are all plausible. You're
In
telling me there was an entire world dedicated to boxing. The
where do you
entire world.
why do you think Banjo's so pissed off he didn't end up in that one?
Sento, what the fuck?
You know damn good well if they landed that world and Sento wanted to leave, Banjo be like, "Nope, I live here now.
Like, this
I
world's
will be
nice
their
though.
king. I will be their king."
I'm sure we're going to get plenty of monsters with this kind of logic, though. And considering
Oh
this
yeah,
series is doing a ton of Showa era throwbacks, thinking about it is only going to get you nowhere.
yeah. It's gonna get you about as far as the monsters in Kira Major will get you.
So, we're not gonna think about it anymore.
Yeah, no, they're just a
Uh,
thing.
I'm still hoping that when we start getting to like the other Sentai worlds, like that's where the monsters from those series come into play.
Right. God, I can't wait for fucking Bosco to be back.
Yeah, like I would totally believe it if he's just the world of Gokaiger. All right. So, boxing guy rings a bell throughout the city that causes everyone to start boxing each other at random.
Like the best one that fit with that was the couple getting married.
I, I like everyone was like, "Oh no, what's going on?" and freaking out. I would have been getting so excited, like, "Yo!"
Yo, love is war.
How's this for a marriage vow? So the Zenkaijers rush outside to see what's going on, where they see the boxing monster. However, their interaction with him is interrupted by Blue being chased by the grunts, leading to one of my favorite interactions. What was that about? And the monster just goes, I don't know. just
It's not mine.
just a normal conversation.
It's like in that moment they forgot they were fighting.
Right, like, and I
It was
love moments like that.
the fact it was a big enough distraction.
Like, putting aside the fact that this is heroes versus villains, just like visible confusion on all ends. Like, what's that about? I don't know. uh, and then, Boxing Monster realizes, like, oh, you're the Zenkaigers. Uh, and Blue sees them holding the gears and goes, wait, how did you get those gears? Are there worlds trapped inside those too?
Which, to be fair, that was a fair question.
Right, because as far as he knows, E.G. Rude was the one who made the gears.
So the answer would be yes.
Uh,
But apparently no, that's not it. It's just motif.
so yeah, the whole thing gets interrupted by the whole fight. Just gets interrupted by Blue, who's trying to figure out like what's going on and such. And then Boxing Monster starts to realize, like, wait, if those grunts are are after you, then somebody high up is probably like looking for you. I'll capture you.
Like this is one of those things where like and the way the uh the monster handles this is one of those things that I really enjoyed about this episode is because it used the monster and the motif for the plot rather than just being
Just
the monster that they have to
right,
defeat.
just a gimmick for a monster.
It was like everything about the monster and his powers were literally part of the plot of this episode.
And just showing how like thinking the monster is and like showing actual loyalty to the group of like, if the grunts are after you, you're probably wanted by someone, so I'll make sure of that. And then yeah, the Zenkaigers grab him and run. But then when Ijirude shows up, Boxing is just like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll capture him right away." And then Ijirude tells him like, "No, no, 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 just
Just scrap
scrap
them.
him." It's like, "Oh, I can do that."
Like it was these are moments in like especially the more sillier type of sendais that I enjoy is like that moment of realism, like the way things would normally play out. Because like in this case, it was, huh, you seem important, and like somebody wants you, go get him. And then the guy after him goes, so I'm gonna need you to catch him. He goes, oh no 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 no, I'm already on that. Don't worry. Like it's why I liked Lupat was because the monsters had ambition.
Right. Like, you had all the ones that were trying to take over the world so they could impress the boss and become his successor. And then you just had ones that didn't care about that and were just trying to send the boss off in style. Like, here's a retirement gift for you.
Like or the ones who were just avenging their brother who got stepped on.
Right.
But like it's the ambition that I've always enjoyed seeing from the anime. Like for me, that harkens back to like my era Power Rangers of specifically Power Rangers of like Goldar trying to impress Rita,
One of the
failing but attempting to impress Rita.
monsters from Shinkenger that I distinctly remember is the one that doesn't fit in with the rest. So the goal in Shinkenger for the monster, the villains, was to cause fear and suffering in humans because that energy became their lifeblood. And so the general would like pick monsters that had powers that could do that for them. And then this one monster shows and says, "Hey, I want to go out next." And the general tells him like, "What? No, you're not going to achieve our goal. You don't help us in that way." And he goes, "No, no, I'm going though." And he was a parasite monster. So like he would target one person, and so he wouldn't be able to cause the widespread chaos that they needed.
Right,
But like it just stood out to me because it was so different than what the other monsters would do. Because he and like that's why the general didn't want to send him out there because it's like no, you actually aren't going to like push our goals any further.
right. Like it adds depth to a villain when you shift things just enough. Like even in that simple instance of well, here's a monster whose plans don't fit, you know, and seeing how that particular monster attempts to overcome that or just decides he wants to do his own thing, which was a lot of loop at. But like even with Kira Majors, like you had the enemies, certain ones that were clearly out for themselves, and then the ones that were just everything is for the end goal. Granted, a couple of those monsters ended up swapping it by the end of that. Tarantula.
Uh,
Oh, that was your computer.
So the plan is that boxing decides to hold a competition for all the people he's hypnotized. He sends them to defeat Blue. So the Zenkaigers can't fight back because they'd be fighting against humans
Yeah.
slash innocent people. I don't think any Kikainoids were affected by this.
I don't remember if there were or not. If there were, it was like one.
Uh, they managed to hide in a library for a little bit and ask him some questions, but he keeps getting distracted. Basically, learn like, oh yeah, he worked for Toji Tendo. Uh, so why are they after you? And did you learn some forbidden secret in your desire for knowledge? Which the answer is yes, but
Yeah.
he doesn't actually explain that because he keeps getting distracted.
And then they keep getting caught.
He also probably doesn't realize it was a forbidden secret.
Right. Because again, the intelligence level, the average intelligence level of these characters is not very high.
That okay, that comment reminds me. So yesterday, I was hanging with my roommate and we decided like what are we gonna watch? Hey, Kipo and the Wonder Beast. We'll watch a few episodes, see if we like it or not. And then 4 hours went by. um, it is a fantastic show on Netflix. And the reason your comment reminded me about it is because the pig is the smartest character on the show.
Because of course it is.
All right. They finally, uh, they finally get Blue to focus though by taking off his glasses. Without his glasses, he can't see, which means he can't see things that will distract him from their conversation.
Because all distractions are, you know, by sight.
And so finally, Blue explains to them about the machine that Toji Tendo's been using to capture all the worlds and trip them in the gears. And they ask him like, "Oh, can the trapped worlds be saved?" And he explains like, "Yes, these two worlds actually were restored." And they make the connection of like, "Wait, those were the monsters we fought, so that means if we destroy the gears, we free the worlds." And we saw this coming episode 1, so
Right. So it's not like it's anything new for us. But it is nice seeing that conclusion be reached.
on the run again, and they run into E.G. Rude and the boxing monster. Uh, so they tell Blue to go hide while they fight to protect him. But he finally stands up and goes, "Wait, no, I just realized I've been tricked and lied to and used.
And quite possibly bamboozled.
I hate that. I hate them. I want to fight against them." Uh,
And amazingly enough, he didn't shoot a bad guy.
uh,
I was disappointed in that. Especially given the fact that this is what, episode 4, so the last 3 times we've seen him, he's been shot at.
wouldn't that have been the great one though if he was shot this time?
Yeah, like it would have been great if either he was shot or he shot Ijirude or whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah, no. Basically, Blue has an epiphany that uh, he's been living in a small world. Toji Tendo in trapping all the worlds is basically just getting rid of them. Like
Like
you're not
it's limiting his ability to gain knowledge.
Right, it's like, okay, I know about Toji Tendo, but I don't know anything about these worlds that we're capturing. Here's a world that hasn't been captured yet, and there's so much to learn about it. I want to learn.
So fuck your shit. I'm gonna wreck it.
Now tell me how to use this.
And again, everybody stands around and waits.
Ichiro tells Boxing, like, hey, hurry up, hurry up. Oh, they're already done.
I have loved that joke, and I'm going to miss the joke.
So, we haven't talked about the roll calls yet because why do it when you. It didn't really matter before, but now we can. Uh, so, like, Juran is Kiryu power. And then you got, like, Hyakuju power, Maho power, Himitsu power. These are all the names of the Sentai that they're based off of. Kiryu Sentai Ju Ranger, Maho Sentai Magi Ranger, Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger, Hyakuju Sentai Gao Ranger,
And
Gogo
then there's this
Sentai
one.
Bokenger. Wait. And like he actually says Gogo Power, so it's clearly Bokenger. And he even calls out, like, wait, what does Gogo Power mean? And fucking Toon, the good bird that whose name I finally learned, is like it's a reference to Bokenger. And it's like, so why is he not Zenkai Boken?
Like everybody else is.
I checked the wiki,
Yeah, yeah.
and it seems to be that the reason his name is Vroom is because it is the onomatopoeia for vroom vroom, plus it sounds similar to broom because he's a
It,
janitor.
yeah. Do all this for a fucking pun.
I hate it. I hate it because it doesn't match.
We've, and to be fair, you've hated it since we found out what his name was.
Right, like I don't hate it because it's a pun. I hate it because it doesn't fit in with the others.
Like it's just lazy, and there's no reason why it can't use Boken.
Like if they all had some sort of play on words to them, like if Duran was had was like some sort of play on Gaburincho or something, like then I could be like, oh yeah, they're all a subtle reference to their theme rather than the specific Sentai.
Where no,
But
everybody
no,
else's specific Sentai. To the point where with Pink, um, Sechan literally goes, "Dude, you
you
said magic."
said magic power, didn't you? And she goes, oh wait, that's real?
I am a little disappointed it's a dump truck, by the way. I'm tired of dump trucks. I have enough Tonka toys.
And during the fight, Legacy Power, they use Die Ranger's power,
Yeah, they do.
which includes using their staff to hit the monster in the crotch between his legs.
The
Which
most
was,
notable gif
yeah, which
from
was
Die
a
Ranger.
legitimate thing that happened in Die Ranger.
And because it was Green that did it.
Speaking of Die Ranger, I do not have the time to watch that show right now.
Excuses, excuses. Just kidding. To be
I'll
fair, that even getting me to watch it has been a chore.
I'll try to force myself at some point, and we can do a full series podcast on it. But like, I just don't have the time for it right now.
Oh, that's understandable. I mean, to be fair, in my defense, like, I'm working overtime 3 days out of the week. It's not like
I'm
I want to do a damn thing either.
I'm just trying to adjust to having a nearly full-time job with my college work.
Right.
Like, there's a reason I dropped out of the the Writer podcast.
Right. I don't want you to drop out of this one. I need someone to talk to.
I don't want to stop doing this one. I'm having too much fun with it. Since Saber podcasts are we're looking at doing once a month, I might be able to make those.
Yeah, just squeeze in at the last minute.
Which it's the end of the month, so tomorrow.
Yes, which tomorrow, at least tomorrow is going to be an easy podcast.
Might want to message Zero
Technically,
just to make sure he's up to date.
well, he is because he created the event for 27 and 28.
Okay, good.
Um, but technically it's just 27 and like a third of 28.
So blow up the monster, then the big one comes in, and if you needed any more proof, it is once again the exact same stock footage.
Yeah,
So it is just straight up a throwback to when they had to do that to save on costs.
like the only thing that's different about this particular usage of all this is when the second one shows up.
Right, and it's still the same stock footage. It's just mirror
It just
flipped.
flipped. But at least they did something with it.
uh, but yeah, the monster is a boxing monster, so he's throwing him into a boxing ring. Uh, we get pink and blues combination,
Which
which
makes fucking sense.
it's in a boxing ring, which does make sense because we're doing a boxing thing this episode. But next week it's not going to make sense.
At this point, I'm fine with that one moving forward because at least the initial one was in a boxing ring.
But baseball, though.
There's no fucking explanation for that one. Like again, the boxing one makes sense. That it is a Sentai trope to have that boxing match monster because it legitimately happens almost at least once a Sentai.
What's worse, baseball or football?
In terms of
In terms of they suck.
baseball, because it's slow and boring. At least with football, things happen more than once every 3 minutes.
All right.
But then again, to be fair of it, Japan loves them some baseball.
They really do. I don't know what's popular in Japan.
They love them some baseball. They have their own world league.
Oh wait, actually, is golf popular in Japan? Yeah, it is because they have Golf Week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, golf is popular in Japan. I know that.
But yeah, golf and baseball I know are really popular there. I don't and wrestling. I don't know about.
Oh right, sumo wrestling.
No, I meant like WWE wrestling.
Oh really? That's popular in Japan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They've got like 4 or 5 different leagues. And some of them are disturbing. Some are quite actually entertaining. To the point where a lot of them are starting to come to the U.S. through it, and a lot of our wrestlers are going there and performing.
Nice.
In a whole thing.
So yeah, we get the new mech combinations. So Juren and Majin are both left or no, they're both right halves if you're looking at it from their perspective.
Yeah.
And so Gowon and Vroom are both left halves, and so you have 4 different combinations. Juren, Gowon, oh wait, no, I got those mixed up.
Yeah, because it's yellow and pink on one side, red and blue on the other.
Right, it's Juren, Majin, Juren, Gowon, and then you've got Vroom, Majin, and Vroom, Gowon.
Which was I don't know what I was expecting in terms of footage of them swapping. That was not what I expected. The wink, like the
Th-
weirdo thing, like it looked like they had somebody who was playing with the toy and they just whited, they just colored the guy out.
this brings up two logistical questions, though. The
How did they
first,
make the port? How did they make the all together mech? Like the
no,
normal
well,
full team
they'll
mech?
that one will they'll bullshit some explanation into it, like a normal Sentai thing. Actually, we'll probably get that when we get our sixth member. To be honest, two logistical questions. One, are they going to have auxiliary mechs, and how do those work? Since the mechs again are the team members. And two, what role does Kaito play here? Other than allowing the mechs to combine together, does he grant any sort of special like strength to whichever mech he's personally riding in? Does he have any sort of control over it, like a
So
pilot?
we know that he has control in the aspect of he literally hijacked um Gowan and Jurin when they didn't want to fight together.
Okay,
He literally forced them to do it.
so maybe that's just what it is. Like when he's in one of whichever one he's in, he's piloting that personal one. So he's the one that's like helping them fight versus the two different minds fighting for control, trying to fight on their own.
Right. Like I feel that's more the case. Like they're all still fully sentient. I know because they all still talk.
But
But
who's in control?
right. Like and that is something we're doing and this has been my issue with sentient mechs with pilots. It gets to a point of just how much control are you having? How much is the team and how much is, the giant walking talking robot? I mean, to be fair, we had one Sentai team whose Zords who would smack the shit out of them for not listening to them. Other ones would eat their partner periodically, playfully. Capriccio.
So
Um, so it's that the sentient issue has always been an issue when it comes to being a piloted mech. I think that's why I liked a lot of the older ones of like Bokenger, what you like
Deca
Geki
Ranger.
Ranger, all the ones that had non-sentient ones. It's like it made more sense to have the team inside of it
But
and
then you
actually doing things.
but then you have Abba Ranger where the mechs were sentient, but they still needed their partners to pilot them.
Right.
Goanger
Mm,
also did that.
It, then you had the um like Jew Ranger. All their mechs were gods. What the hell? Why did they need the humans for?
Because the gods were dead.
They were alive enough to slap the shit out of them.
They couldn't use their own bodies though. That's why they needed the pilots.
Like it. I guess that's a decent enough justification.
At least that's what I think happened. I don't remember.
Um, Dire Ranger made sense. It was that they were controlling it.
um,
Like it get like it says, it gets to a point where it's like, why are you doing this? I
Gal
get having,
Ranger, the
I get
animals
have.
needed the pilots to unlock their true power. But yeah,
Why were they necessary for Kira Major? I mean, and that's my point. It's like to be fair, for a lot of them, it doesn't. They don't all add up,
I'm gonna be
and they
honest.
they do.
I forgot that the gemstones in Cure Major were sentient.
Like, you forget about it
It's
until
been
they talk.
it's been a month and I straight up forgot.
Like, but again, it's like it's never explained why, as a mech, why they needed them to be piloted. Considering the fact that they've pointed out several times during the show that all they needed the Kira Majors for at that point was to cheer them on and believe in them. That was literally covered in an episode when they swapped bodies.
Right. I guess if the gemstones weren't sentient, the only two differences would be that at the end, the redstone wouldn't have been able to talk to Juru and tell him what was going on, and we wouldn't have gotten a thirsty stone simping for Saya or Cena.
Yeah, but we would have gotten me simping for, you know, Mr. Shiodana.
So, Zenkaiger. They bring Rune back to the cafe, and he cleans it up because he has a lot of experience as a janitor. Turns out.
Apparently, he's really good at it.
Uh, and now all five team members together.
So Red
Uh,
wants to throw a party.
but Blue has another question. Uh,
Yeah. Who's
uh,
that?
no, it's so. Do your gears have the Sentai teams trapped in them? And Toon explains, no, they just use the Super Sentais from these other worlds as their motives. They're just based off of them. That's what Dr. Isao and Misuko base them on. They wouldn't do something so cruel as to trap worlds in gears.
Oh, hey, I know those guys.
Uh,
Dun
yeah,
dun dun.
I've heard those names before. They were in Ijirude's lab.
Well, shit. Which, to be fair,
We already knew that was gonna happen.
If it wasn't that way, it'd have been the other way around.
Like they basically wanted you to figure that out first when when they had that conversation with Ijirude about how they both used gears.
Right. Like the only other possible way for that to be a let's play this out slightly differently is if Ijirude just happened to be like their assistant and went, I have an idea after the fact. Like that's it. This makes more sense because, Sentai.
And like I'm not even saying that the show is predictable. I'm saying the show is foreshadowing well. Like it wants you to figure these things out.
Right. Like it's doing that foreshadow because there's two different ways to foreshadow properly. There's the make it obvious to where it's not, oh my god, this is such a massive ass surprise, what the hell, this changes everything, which is what this particular one is, because it really doesn't change anything beyond my parents might not have been as awesome as I thought, versus the like just a little, just enough to for when the reveal happens you go, so that's what all that shit was about.
I feel like this might be a like in between the two, honestly, where
Right.
it's like, all right, they have the conversation about how they both use gears. That's supposed to get you to think that like, are these somehow connected to each other? Versus making it obvious that like, oh, these are totally related. Uh,
Right. It gets you to ask the questions but doesn't tell you.
Versus Blue finding out that like, oh, the worlds are being freed. Like that one was an obvious like, yes, he's gonna be the one to tell the others what's the fuck is up.
Right. Because, who the fuck else would? Um, but yeah, it's like, this show did it the right way. It led with the carrot enough that you weren't surprised when a horse showed up.
So yeah, I am already 4 episodes in and 100% more invested in this plot than whatever is going on in Saber right now.
See, and speaking of, foreshadowing,
Can you call it foreshadowing if they're just telling you what's gonna happen next?
see, that's the problem. Half the time, they're not even doing that. It is all or nothing with that show. Either it's gonna spell everything out, or you're gonna
It's
sit there
just
for
like
20 episodes going, "What the fuck?"
it's not foreshadowing that May is going to be turned into the monster of the week. It straight up tells you that it's going to happen.
Right. And given the replay of that episode, you know, he's gonna magically figure out how to completely separate her because the
Right.
show has no fucking nuance.
That part is probably foreshadowing because he's been getting better and better at it every time he's attempted it. She'll be the one that pushes him over the edge into actually doing it.
And they made a point of showing that during the recap because that's one of the things they could have glossed over because they could have just yes he's been getting stronger and then just show off his 9 different forms. And I know it's not 9; it's more like 6. But there's so much that show could do better, like fleshing out characters beyond the one or two things they've literally told us. But on the plus side, at least they made Ren about as useful as he was officially.
Honestly, I feel like nothing's changed for him.
Yeah, no, nothing.
He
They just
w-
gave they finally had the excuse to not have him in the episode.
when was the last time he actually participated?
I mean, beyond when he went batshit, probably about the last time he went batshit before Kento died.
Oh.
Or no, the episode with the King dude when um disaster the last time disaster was there.
But even then, that was like, what, 2 minutes of screen time?
Yeah, that's been about
And being
the
told,
most.
like, hey, you might be one of us after all, and him going, no, I'm not, and now that has paid off zero.
Yeah, it's been absolutely nothing. It'll pay off in the next 20 episodes when they finally end the show and they finally explain anything that's not common goddamn sense
But we can save the rest of this for tomorrow.
or the plot of Bleach.
Yeah, I gave up on Bleach sometime after Ichigo was revealed to also be part Quincy.
So the end of it. You made it to the end.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you made it to the
I
last arc.
like specifically like as soon as Kenpachi unlocked his Zanpakuto, I was done with the series. His
Yeah.
entire gimmick was that he only had a sword and his power, and it was really cool. And then they ruined it by actually giving him a Zanpakuto.
To be fair, his Zanpakuto was pretty badass. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna lie. I was stoked. Because like when I saw it, I was like, oh, that changes everything. Which, yes, I will admit does kind of
his
ruin the character. But
his
it was one.
sh-
That's awesome.
his Shikai was a cleaver, right?
Yeah,
But his Bonkai was some kind of trident or something.
It was fucking massive. Is all I remember.
All I remember is that actually looked like a cool weapon, and he nearly killed himself with it because he didn't know how to use it properly.
Because of course he did.
Because he had no training.
That is wrong. He got training from Monohana for like a day.
Like, he spent his entire life withholding his power and controlling his base power level without, like, even a Shikai. Then you immediately hand him a Bankai, and he's like, this is too much power. What am I supposed to do with all this? Blow up the world?
Fuck it, let's do that. Like I would be okay with Saber more if the characters seem to matter.
But
Like
we
literally, outside of Ren being useless, Rentaro being all mopey, and Kento being Mr. Edgelord, everybody else, every other writer feels interchangeable for the most part.
but we can get into that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Uh, so next time on Zenkaiger, Sushi World. Everyone is getting pressed into sushi.
So, for the fourth time now, Kiss My Ass, this show's a parody. You have no argument now. Give me one argument of how this is not a parody after watching that preview.
No.
Exactly. Like I know we made that comment a lot during like the beginning of Q Ranger or not Q Ranger,
Kira Major,
Kira Major.
we may, it's possible, thinking about it, we may have exaggerated how much of a parody Kira Major was, but it definitely did play on the tropes in a
A
parody
lot.
like manner. However, this show might actually be a real parody.
Like I think this is more of a parody than Car Ranger ever intended to be. Like I feel they just went, yeah, fuck it, we're going all in on the parody, and it seems to be playing fantastically. Stop talking to yourself.
Never. Alright. So, thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow for Kamen Rider Saber,
God damn it.
and we'll see you next time.
What? Hey, we'll see you guys next time. Enjoy your guys' day.